welcome to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy here at Tamarac National Wildlife Refuge once again with Kelly Blackledge. We got a special Hometown Happenings today because Kelly here is going to, well, we'll tell you about that in a second. But Kelly, you're celebrating 75 years here at the refuge.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't that great? I just can't believe that the refuge has been around that long, but for 75 years, there's been some amazing conservation success stories happening on the refuge here. So this is the year we want to celebrate 75 years.
All right. And are there any people in particular that you would want to meet throughout those 75 years?
Absolutely. You know, as I've been doing some research about all the things that happened in the past, there's one person that I think would be so cool if there was some way to travel back in time and visit with the Gil Gigstead, the first refuge manager. I just can't imagine what he saw 75 years ago here on Tamarac.
Well, Kelly, I'm feeling a little magical today. And through the magic of television, we're going to take you back to visit with Gil Gigstead.
Great. Let's go.
All right. Well, this is your little portal right here, this microphone. So I'm going to hand this over to you. You take care of it and you bring it back after you're done talking to Gil.
All right. Wow, that's amazing. 75 years, and look who I found, Mr. Gil Gigstead, refuge manager for Tamarac Refuge. How does a refuge get started?
Oh my goodness. There are two parts. There is the fun part and there's the hard work part. What we have here is 22,000 acres of land and water over which we have to build roads, trails, lay phone lines, and so on. We did fairly well on that this summer, I think, but we got a late start. There were many days of cars mired to the running boards, long walks back to get tractors. Some days we built 0 rods of roads, but there were better days too. And as a result, we now have a foundation for a headquarters building. We have a residence where I'm going to live as soon as the walls are finished. We have a shop, a service building. We have a couple of patrol cabins. We have one fire tower complete. We have another almost complete. We have some phone lines strung. And we are just about ready to start the fun part. And the fun part is the waterfowl part.
Wow, that is a lot of work just in a short time. What kind of work are you doing today?
Well, today has been a fun day, actually. I was out on Little Rice Lake this morning, and I noted that the first 1,000 bluebills have arrived. We're in the middle right now of the fall migration, and we're interested in seeing what comes. We would have expected the bluebills later. The blue-winged teal are in the process of leaving as the bluebills are arriving. We think we had about 20,000 blue wings here. 3 weeks ago there were 10,000 of them on Height of Land Lake alone.
That's so amazing. All of those birds, you know, in 75 years from now, we actually still see a lot of ducks. But have you ever heard of a trumpeter swan?
You know, we had swans on the refuge for a very brief time last spring. I do not believe that they were trumpeters. The observers could say swans, but they couldn't. I think they were whistlers. But trumpeters are pretty few and far between.
And what about deer and wolves? What kind of mammals do you see today?
We think we have between 12 and 14 deer per square mile. Of wolves, we have, so far as I know, none. We've seen no wolf sign. We see the odd bobcat track, and we know we've seen 3 instances of moose sign. No one has seen a moose yet. But we believe that there are 2 or 3 on the refuge. But wolves, not yet.
And how about bald eagles? Do you ever see bald eagles on Tamarac Refuge in 1938?
We see the occasional eagle, but they're not common. Same with ospreys. We see the occasional osprey, but we know of a nest or two, but they're not common birds.
So are there any birds that you're providing nests for?
Interesting that you should ask, because this is one of my hobby horse subjects. In our duck counting this summer and early fall, we have seen, I think, just shy of 24 wood ducks. We've seen tens of thousands of other ducks. 22 of them have been wood ducks. This is my favorite duck, and I'm saddened by the fact that they are so scarce. Our belief is that they are going to begin an upswing, though. In my last posting, which was in central Illinois, my colleague Milford Smith and I, realizing that wood ducks were cavity nesters, decided that we would try to provide some man-made cavities. And so we designed what we called a wood duck nesting box and put up about 100 of them, and found out that fully half were occupied. Not all by wood ducks, some by kestrels and golden eyes and a couple of kinds of merganders, but many by wood ducks. And so now, as you and I are visiting here, something like 700 wood duck boxes are being distributed through the refuges and wetlands of Illinois. And our own shop is geared up to start building them this winter. We plan to do 300 or 350.
So how did you get money to buy the refuge lands?
Most of the perimeter of the refuge is surveyed by now. And surveying means not just going around the border of the refuge, but isolating and marking the private holdings. There are still a number of private holdings within the refuge border. Those lands we will begin to acquire slowly as they come on the market. You can see they would be dwellings of this sort here. And we're optimistic that we'll get this done, maybe the work of decades, but we're optimistic we'll get it done, that we will own the whole refuge eventually, because there are monies available. And those monies, where do those monies come from? Maybe you can guess.
The duck stamp?
The duck stamp. Duck hunters have to pay $1 to shoot ducks, but those dollars are being put to good use.
Great. Well, it looks like I gotta go. It's sure been an honor meeting you, Gil.
It's been a pleasure to be here. I'd like to visit again sometime, at the other end of the 75 years.
Thank you. See you.
Wow, Kelly, I didn't know if you were going to come back. Time travel does you wonders. Have you learned a lot?
That was so amazing. When else can you actually talk to somebody from 75 years ago? I've learned a lot about Tamarac Refuge. And you know, he mentioned that at that time there were 150 or so visitors at that time, which is just amazing, because today we have almost 80,000 visitors on the refuge. So a lot has changed over the years, and we're excited for the next 75 years of conservation successes.
All right, well, I'll have to keep my microphone though, Kelly. You'll have to get a new one. But well, thank you for talking to us today, and it's been a fun for you to time travel, but yeah. We'll see you back another time here at Tamarac National Wildlife Refuge.
And we'll see some visitors out at the refuge to help us celebrate 75 years of conservation.
All right, Kelly Blackledge and Carol McCarthy for TV3 Hometown Happenings.